What do you want to say, Josh?
No, so here's my take. I'm with Wolfie on the mentality issue. I've questioned Egal over this before. Why do I look at the mentality issue? Well, I go back to these sort of Amazon Prime documentaries, right? I think they're a massive thing. I think they've inflated a PR of a manager and an ego boost of a manager. If you go back and watch that All or Nothing thing, it's all about Arteta. It's all about his team talks. It's all about what he does with these speakers when they prepare for Anfield. And for me, that was a very eccentric sort of thing. Jose Mourinho, when he was at Tottenham, when you look at that documentary, it was all about Mourinho, and we know that's Mourinho. But I look at that Arsenal team yesterday, and I sat there, and they didn't believe that they were going to score yesterday. No matter how many chances they create, there was that I kept saying, and I'll tell you why there's a lack of belief, because you look at the number 9 on the pitch. And as a footballer, you know, if you've played football, no matter your team, there will be a player, whether he played Sunday League or top league. You know who your weak link is in the team. You knew sometimes that when you're going out on that pitch for your strongest 11, you go, do you know what, we're winning today. When you're going out on that part of the Prince pitch and you see Moreno as your number 9, and you know you've got to come from 1 down and you go 2 down, your head's drop. You know that's game over. And that is a mentality thing. I think the mentality as well I want to question is, why does Arteta also believe that he is better at coaching than any other manager? He is almost that arrogant that he has believed he could transform Kai Havertz from 8 to a 9. He feels like he didn't need to sign a 9. He feels like and as Arsenal fans and the top ones will call it out, will say Arteta has final say on the transfers. Well, that guy clearly believed he didn't need a 9 in January, which was a big downfall for me. So I think there's a mentality there of maybe he's overinflated the hype of his players, maybe he's overinflated the hype of himself. But I think there is a degree there where it is yesterday a little bit of rags, and the PR. From an Aston Villa perspective, the thing that probably frustrates me the most is, and panel, some of you have been on me, and Terry, this point for me is massive, is that I get constantly told about Unai Emery. I get a lot of talk from Arsenal fans. We've told you about this man. We've told you that he's a failure. Well, I find it very interesting that Arsenal fans come to me about Unai Emery and he can't multitask, he can't win trophies, he won't be that man. How can an Arsenal fan sit there and come to me over a man who has had 5 years, 750 million as Wolfie pulled out, and imagine if Unai Emery got that time. Imagine if Unai Emery got that money. Imagine.
Yeah.
Because how can they defend Arteta the way they do? And fair play. Do you know what? I absolutely respect people who've been consistent in defending your manager and going to them. That's why, D and Egal, I respect you that you're still sort of sat here. You're giving this guy and you've gone from the start. But how can Unai Emery not get the same treatment from the Arsenal fan base when he pulled out miracles with a really poor squad?
And his CV's better, Josh. His CV's better. He's got credit.
And yet I'm here and I'm just thinking, how has Arteta pulled off this incredible PR stunt now for 5 years? How has he managed to buy another year?
PR stunt because we were challenging for the league.
He said 2 things. He said 2 things. Number 1, Unai Emery lost the respect of the entire team. He was getting mocked.
Why?
And he
because
lost
of his language barrier. Because of his language.
He lost the dressing room. Once you lose respect from your whole dressing room, it's over. It got to the point where fans were not showing up in droves. There was empty stadiums in the Premier League and in the Europa League games, and that was the final straw for the owners. Now, if you want to
talk empty against Bournemouth the other day,
if you want to talk about Arteta, the first thing he did was rebuild the connection with the fans and the players. As much as people want to hate on Arteta, this is the most invested a lot of people, even the most pessimistic fans, have been with the team. The difference between Arteta and Unai Emery, let's be 100%. He has a longer rap sheet CV. He's worked with many more clubs. Mikel Arteta's come short in a couple title races, and he's come short with Arsenal from winning the major honors. And we're judging him based off a 5-year career. We're judging Unai Emery based off of a 10+ year career. It's different.
Why does he get more money? Why does he get more? This is where I'm trying to get my head around. So, at your point, why does Arteta get 750 million off a gamble? Let's call it a gamble because that's what you both saying. It's an apprentice.
understand that
There can't be because hold on, let me just hold on because you've just told me Unai Emery has a rap sheet. He has a CV. So let's think about a normal job. You've got 2 employees, right? You've got someone who's just fresh out of university and he's going for a top job and he's got potential. And you go bish bash bosh. Do you take a gamble on him? It may work, it may not. Or you take someone who's been in the industry for 10 years, has gone, I've got success in this field. I have got success. Give me the right tools and I'll bring you success. That's what Unai Emery and Arteta is. Why does he not? That's where I'm confused.
Let me answer.
Unai Emery got a record transfer fee in Nicolas Pepe. Unai Emery got money. He just wasn't there.
Not his player. Not his player. He wanted Zaha. He wanted Zaha.
He just wasn't there as long as Arteta. Number one. Number two, the process of how Arsenal functioned as a club changed in the time that Unai Emery was there to Arteta. There was a takeover. The club has been fully taken over by the Cronkies, and they started investing more money in the club, and they needed to invest more money in the club to get us caught up to the levels of other teams. And we've relatively caught up because we have a decent squad now, but it took that investment to catch up. And don't forget, the money that Unai Emery spent in his second season was around 160 million euros or 160 million pounds.
Didn't that win you the FA Cup? Didn't that win you the FA Cup?
That was back in 2019, right? 2019 summer, January. That's how much money they spent. Since then, we've only had 2 transfer windows that have spent more money than that. So when we talk about investments, there's only been 2 transfer windows that spent more money than Unai Emery's highest transfer.
Well, you spent 0 in the others, did you, ago?
No. In the other, that was his first season. He came in. It wasn't really his transfers. You know what I mean?
No, but Igal, I have a question. So now, are you asking? I
just want to make it clear. When we talk about investment, Unai Emery got pretty much the exact same investment. He just didn't have the exact same amount of years as Arteta did.
No, but that's what I'm asking. Are you Arteta in or are you Arteta out? Like, what is it? Because I know that
I'm surprised you're asking me this question. I've not said anything negative about Arteta the whole stream. Clearly, I'm Arteta.
No. Why I'm asking you that is that, like, normally with anything, okay, in any project, in any company, like, okay, this is football we're talking about. There is somebody, like, I can see in the super chats also they're mentioning Arteta has improved this team, right? There are some people who can go from 0 to 80%, but to take it from 80 to 100%, you need a closer. You sometimes need somebody like that. So are Arsenal fans not open to that? Not open to saying, okay, Arteta did a good job so far, but it's time, like we can see in the last 5 years, he's a
progressive manager. That's what he is. He's not a winner.
It's a great. Sorry, I just want to jump in for a second on a few bits and pieces just to tidy up. I don't often like a conversation to end and a new one start without kind of. Josh, I like a lot of what you said and the challenges there. My only question for you is on consistency here. So when you guys finished 7th in the 2022-23 season, you congratulated Unai Emery for that, right?
What, when we qualified for the Conference League? Yeah.
That's my only issue with the analysis you're giving is you're taking Arteta's FA Cup away and saying, well, that was Unai Emery's team, but you're not turning around and taking credit for Unai Emery and saying, well, that was Gerrard's team. And there was only about 3 to 4 weeks difference in when one was sacked and the other one was replaced. That's my only issue with the analysis. You also said Pepe wasn't Unai Emery's player. I think Arteta has made some terrible decisions on signings in recent times, but they have also missed out on players they wanted as well. So for me, I don't disagree that mentality's got to improve. I don't disagree that they need better players. I think that's the biggest elephant in the room that seems to be getting ignored. It's all kind of about shit on Arteta and he needs criticism. I actually think it's more about they need better than Odegaard, they need better than Martinelli, they need better than Kai Havertz, they need better than Marino, they need better midfielders technically on the ball. They need someone that will either be a real backup to Saka or challenge him for his position. I think that's a much bigger talking point. Arteta definitely needs criticism. The problem is you could label that every manager misses out on target. So if you're going to defend Unai Emery with it, you've got to defend Arteta with it. If you're going to take away credit from something Arteta has won when he comes in mid-season, the reason I don't do it, because I am not giving Ten Hag credit if Ruben Amorim manages to win the Europa League this year. I won't do it. So I'm just trying not to be hypocritical in that way. I do think you make some great points. What he said last night, Mikel Arteta, about being the best team in it, someone on the PSG bench may very well have said that. It's a bit like when you hear Fergie go, oh yeah, listen, what Wenger did with the Invincibles is better than anything I did. sometimes people say things in a very humble moment. You know, I've been around some really high level YouTubers who will say to YouTubers less followers, I love what you do. I wish I could do stuff like that. It doesn't mean they think you're better than them. They're being humble for it. They know with their 5 million followers, they're better than you, right? They're just being humble. I think that was a mistake from Mikel Arteta, because what it appears like on the outside is he's taking no accountability. And football fans have got a big hard on at the moment for taking accountability. Behind the scenes, you might have taken accountability. You might have ripped into the players. You might be sitting there with Berta today saying, I need better, I need better. I think he's got he said the wrong thing. It's rattled fans more. If he would have come out yesterday and just said, we've just been beaten by a brilliant team, we've got things we could learn from them, there's things we need to improve on, I think that would have encouraged a lot of the Arsenal fans. Forget the ones who have always hated him, that always want him out. He literally, he could, no matter what he does, they're going to hate him. Even, by the way, if he wins the Champions League next year, it will be, yeah, but it took 6 years. So forget their opinions to a certain degree, because they're not here to have a conversation. They're here just to, they need to be right. So don't worry about them. But I think what Arteta did really wrong last night from a fan relationship point of view was not take that accountability publicly. He probably shouldn't have said anything. But then again, he was emotional. But for me, I get the mentality around my bit off by just saying Arsenal need better players. And what I mean by that is this: they got rid of a load of dross they had. They've become title contenders. They've become a very good team. But to get to that elite bracket where you win the Prem, where you win the Champions League, I think we've seen evidence in the last 3 seasons that certain individuals, Odegaard being one of them as an example, Martinelli being another, they just need better than those players. And I think every Arsenal fan with their hand on their heart knows this. They just need better players. Because as much as the mentality might be an issue, does that game go differently if Kvaratskhelia is an Arsenal player and Martinelli is a PSG player? Listen, I think Ray is a good goalkeeper. I think Donnarumma is better. And that isn't making it, some will say that's an excuse for Arsenal. I don't think it is. It's not an excuse, but typically speaking, the team with the better players wins games, right? And I just think Arsenal have to buy this summer better players. And look, they're sticking with their manager. So if they're sticking with him, the only solution to make them better is better players, because I agree with what you've all said. He's not turning Kai Havertz into Haaland. He is not turning Miko Moreno into Rodri. He's not doing that. So they've got to buy better for me.
But Terry, just 1 second, guys. Just 1 second. I just want to address his point. I just want to address his point, Terry's point. Terry, the thing is, you're saying they need better players. Like, I agree with what Wolfie said, the mentality thing, is because Chelsea won the Champions League with Havertz as their striker, Timo Werner on the left, Mason Mount in the middle. Okay, this Arsenal team is better than that Chelsea team. This Arsenal team has better players than that Chelsea team. Okay, so if there was a different manager with a mentality like Inzaghi or Enrique, they could have won something from this because they came so close.
I understand that. The only slight issue I have with what you're saying on an argument level is I'm not boiling it down to losing last night. I've just said when you look at the last 3 seasons, you look at missing out on the titles 2 years running, falling off earlier this year. I think if Arsenal won the Premier League last year, if they were 2 times Premier League champions and then lost that semi-final, this conversation wouldn't even be happening. The point I'm making is I don't think anyone who wants Arteta gone, it can't be solely on last night. Anyone who's backing him can't just be, well, we've got to a semi-final.
I agree that it's over the last.
I'm just trying to specify my point here. So if you're someone that's saying, I don't care about the league form, we got to a semi-final, that's a good enough reason to back him, I think that's too delusional. You've got to look at the wider picture here. And look, I'm not even against the idea of getting rid of him. I'm an Arsenal fan, but if they can bring in someone better, most people can't name a manager that's attainable that's better, really. They have to go very quiet in those circumstances. But for me, better players is probably the best option for them. They really have shown they've got very good players. And I think, as you said, D, they need to go out and get some of those players that are maybe more certified as world class. You know, someone like a Gyökeres, someone like a Zubimendi. They come to Arsenal as an example and deliver for you like they've done for their previous clubs. There'll be no debate about their levels. I think that's what is now needed for Arsenal, especially with Arteta staying. Like, he is going to stay, right? He's 100% going to stay.
Just look at the PSG team that we played at the Emirates earlier this season.